immensely proud of all of our efforts to protect our community, but we can't and we shouldn't do it alone. It is the responsibility of the government to protect its citizens in their places of worship and communal gathering. And it is the responsibility of government leaders to stand up against incitement to violence and against the lies and slanders that contribute to that incitement. I wish I could say that every public official has done the right thing, but I can't. On the other hand, there have been some true profiles in courage since October 7th. And at the top of any list is the senior United States Senator from Pennsylvania. Please join me in welcoming Senator John Fetterman. You're here.
I need that.
Oh, you want to be here? So let's switch.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Hi, hello everybody. Promise, be honest. The face is normal, right?
You look great.
The kids say they won't even notice, right? No, I mean, honestly, it's a true honor to be here with you tonight. So thank you for having me here for this.
Thank you. We can't thank you enough. We're so glad you're okay. And it is so kind of you to join us here this morning. Thank you very, very much. Senator, before we get to anti-Semitism and security, I want to talk about your political philosophy. You've just published a new book called Unfettered, and in it you wrote, "I have never viewed my political party as an iron shackle adhering me to the party line, and I don't take positions for my own self-interest. I take positions based on what I believe is right. I know this has cost me support from a significant part of my base, and I'm well aware that it may cost me my seat. I'm completely at peace with that." Now, speaking for myself, and also I'm guessing for everybody in this room, we don't want that to happen. But tell us what it's like when your sense of what is right goes against members of your party or your base.
Well, I mean, for me, in this situation, part of this conversation, for me, it's always been a very, very easy choice to proudly, unapologetically stand with Israel and the Jewish community in our nation. There's always been, for me, a moral clarity. And now it's reasonable to have another side, but there's really firmly the right side through this now. And after the tragedy after 10/7, I mean, in some sense, you really got to pick a side. For me, it's been very, very, this vote, this voice is going to reign firmly on through this. And whether it's the history or whether it's the current circumstances, you know, it's been disappointing, honestly, the party situation for now. As a member, as the Democrat, Israel is the kind of place and our key ally that has and defends and projects the kind of values that we want to have, and we would want that for everybody. So for me, my heart breaks for what Israel and the Jewish community has been after through 10/7. But for me, let's know that, you know, we had some things happen that I was able to attend some events last week. But if it would have gone some other way, you know, my career would have been, my supreme honor was to be proudly standing with Israel throughout this terrible tragedy after 10/7.
Senator, were you surprised by the reaction of some in your party and the base where it comes to the issue of support of the state of Israel?
It's not so much that I'm surprised. It's just more of an example of perhaps expecting it. Honestly, for me, after 10/7, it's very clear that the circumstances that I think was going to say. I said that I hope it's not true, but I'm happy to remain the last man standing to be standing with Israel through this.
Let's talk about anti-Semitism and the security of the Jewish community. You represent a number of large Jewish communities in Pennsylvania, including, of course, the home of the worst anti-Semitic violence in this country's history, the Squirrel Hill neighborhood of Pittsburgh. In the 7 years since that horrific attack, and especially in the last 2 years since October 7th, the open anti-Semitic rhetoric that mirrors the prejudices that the shooter of the Tree of Life building expressed have been more open, more brazen, and more frequent. What can you do as a public official, as a United States Senator?
Yeah, I'm sorry. So that's for me, as I'm not a member of the Jewish community, for me, anti-Semitism really hit front and center for me after the Tree of Life massacre. I was in Philadelphia at the time campaigning for lieutenant governor, and actually one of our friends lived directly across the street, the Tree of Life, and they called and said, someone's in there with a rifle shooting people, and like, oh my God. And clearly, I still had no idea just how awful that is. And at that point, I spontaneously, I suspended the campaign and jumped in the car. And for anyone's familiar with Squirrel Hill, that's the heart of the Jewish community in Pittsburgh, and a massive rally just to stand with the Tree of Life. So from there, I thought that could have been where that would be a wake-up, but then, of course, after 10/7, just astonishing, and how anti-Semitism has just gone across our country on college campuses for those things. So the kinds of protesters and those kinds of people have showed up at my home and my office in person spaces, but that's a tiny percentage of what all of you have faced, on that things. It's real, and you can only have to push back for this kinds of thing. And that is not free speech to terrorize a community. That is not free speech to put up a lot of tents and to intimidate people and make people unsafe on a campus for that. So following the truth in those circumstances, whether that puts me at odds of parts of my own political best, that doesn't matter to me. What really matters to me is to see this through, so where we can finally arrive at a possible path for peace. And here we are. That put me in a unique circumstances politically, but that's a badge of honor to really represent the real truth and remind people the history and the real circumstances for now. And now we are losing parts of entire party, especially the young people. And if you are getting your history degree from the TikTok machine, you are going to emerge with a deep distaste or worse for Israel. And that's heartbreaking. And how cynical and how effective as it is. But, now for where we are, I have a sense of optimism where there may be peace in the middle of that region. I fully supported all of these kinds of things within Gaza because this is what Israel was needed to accomplish, to be in this place now. And whether I would follow and support President Biden, or even the most polarizing figure in the Democratic Party and President Trump. Hey, I'm going to follow him if what's doing standing with Israel and accomplishing and putting that region on the path for peace.
Senator, I know this hasn't just impacted you, but I know it's impacted your wife as well. And we were just learning of what she does and what happened at that store. And I wonder if maybe you'd tell us a little bit about that.
I'm sorry, could you say again?
The store that your wife...
Yeah. Where is Giselle? Is she here?
She is here. She may be...
Yeah, she's back there. Okay. My wife, Giselle.
Oh, no, she's in front.
Anyway, thank you. Yeah. So my wife Giselle, if you see her, you'll quickly realize she is my much better half. So for me, she has a nonprofit that she just distributes food and diapers and things for residents in the Rees and Braddock. If you're not familiar with it, it's a region with a lot of need. But regardless, now people even turned their anger that I've accrued supporting Israel, even at her free store, and defacing it, showing up and screaming at people and trying to intimidate people, and even now it's small, but even parts of that funding dried up with that. So. That's the poison, and whether they're showing up at your home. And it's like I said, I can't imagine how exhausting it must be to be a member of this community.
I'm sorry that's happening to your wife as well, and thank you always. I thought maybe, Giselle, thank you, wherever you're sitting. I thought you might tell us a story that I recently heard about something that took place in Aspen, and someone that came at you. And I think it involves somebody in this audience today. So I thought maybe you could share that story with us.
The one in Colorado.
Yep.
Oh, I was in Aspen, Colorado, and I was sitting on a bench, and most people that approach me and say hello, or if they want a picture, they're positive. And then there was a guy coming up, which was also not unheard, Genocide John, and saying all these kinds of a thing. And then suddenly a stranger just, was defending me and pushing back and just talking about the truth of that circumstances.
I believe he's here with us. I believe he is our national campaign chair, David Heller, who did that pushback.
Yeah. I have a chance to thank you for that because, honestly, a lot of people are very supportive, but when that happens, to have somebody, it's almost like I had someone ready to go for that.
David, thank you for us.
But thank you for that because, and that's what's so kind of sick about where it's like. And in times that's happened when I'm with my young children or that thing. It's like, people are allowed to have different views on that, but the way and how ugly that it's turned into it and how that's manifested itself, whether on college campuses or in public spaces, or even those kinds of legislative show votes, whether it's in my Senate or whether it's, in the House too, these kinds of that, in my opinion, have cheapened things like genocide and these kinds of terms. Strongly reject those kinds of smears and claim that Israel is operating as part of the goal. And now, as more and more members in my caucus continue to back away from standing with Israel, for me, it's a huge disappointment, but I can't also imagine how heartbreaking it must be for Israel and Jews in America to have to witness and have that kind to continue to happen.
Senator Fetterman, any last words of advice for us or thoughts that I didn't give you the opportunity to share when you have a large group of Jewish leaders who are literally hanging on your every word?
No, I mean I don't have any advice, but what I will say finally, the opportunity to, I am so sorry what Israel was through after 10/7. I've had the honor of visiting twice within the last year, and I am constantly confronted by the true heroes for this. I've met 2 widows, and they both individually had 8 children each, raising 8 children after they've lost their father in the Gaza war. Or I've had the supreme honor of meeting hostages that have been held underground for 500 days, 600 days. That's strength and that's courage. I couldn't last, a week under those kind of circumstances. And how they've been able to sit on a stage like this and have this conversation. I have lost the honor of meeting with so many of them in my office and their family members. And now after this, and what Israel has had to push back and stand against the global condemnation and criticism, and as more and more people might back away, where and what they've accomplished is profound, and it's also ends firmly on the right side of history, and it's the path forward. And regardless what continues to happen, I will always, there's no condition on whatever aid is necessary, whether it's military, intelligence, or financial. And now, some of these political elections, they are putting an anti-Israel position front and center. They'll even brag like, well, I won't take their money. Have and put out these ridiculous resolutions. In fact, 21 members in the House put out something, supported by an organization like Code Pink. I've had those people show up protesting in my office for the last 2 years. Like in two sides, it's like my advice is like stand on the moral clarity, stand on the side of history, and stand on the kinds of values that you only will see that we all want to live here in our nation is only in Israel, and look around. So, but thank you for the honor of joining with you here today.
Please join me in thanking Senator Fetterman.